My name is Gibson, and I'm the co-owner and creator of the Personal Development School. This is your daily breakthrough video, and in this video, we're going to talk about the 7 red flags that the anxious, preoccupied, attachment style individual tends to ignore the most when in the dating phase, specifically of a relationship. Okay, so when you're in the vetting phase, the time of getting to know somebody. So what I want you to start by recognizing is that we ignore the red flags the most that are the deepest reflection of our own behavior in the relationship to ourselves. Okay, I'm going to say that one more time because I know it's like a little bit of a mind trip. We ignore the red flags the most that are the deepest reflection of our own behavior in the relationship to ourselves. Okay, so we're about to go through 7 red flags. Get your pen and paper so you can be aware. Every red flag is a really important and valuable piece of feedback about how you treat yourself at a subconscious level. And we can always do a future follow-up series about what to do about some of this stuff, okay? So before I dive in, we are adding very exciting additions to the Personal Development School because of all the COVID stuff that's happening. I'm really looking to support and build community for everybody as much as possible. We have our attachment coaches. So I already do 4 live calls a week with people. And they're like an hour to an hour and a half long every time. Sometimes they're really long and I just go for 2 hours. It's a really great time for asking your questions with me, building community, all this kind of stuff. Then, of course, we have like our 35 courses. We're adding 2 new ones every month that are very in-depth, 15 to 25-page workbooks, all that stuff. And now we're adding this other feature where we have our attachment coaches who are literally going to be leading guided meditations, morning and evening routines, and also leading little social gatherings on Zoom, mastermind groups, just about facilitating sharing between people, like-minded people, all this stuff. We are still doing it for $67 a month, at least till year end. And you have 25% off as the with you coupon code. So we'll have something like we're hoping by December, we're going to start in trial and error, see what works the best. But we're hoping by December to have something almost every day for people. So you can tune in at different times, have that extra support, community, all that stuff. I'm very excited about that. And we also have our 90-day challenge, link for that as well in the description box below. Let's talk about red flags. So number one of the biggest things that anxious preoccupieds tend to ignore the most is the dismissiveness in relationships. And, dismissiveness doesn't have to be this like be all end all. A lot of times it's a solvable problem. I've seen hundreds, if not thousands of people at this point in relationships, when they feel that they're being dismissed, to have a boundary with themselves where they say, I'm going to speak up to this person who I feel is dismissing me every single time. And I've seen really healthy relationships around me with people who are in 10-year marriages, 15-year marriages, where one party naturally tunes out and the other party's like, hey, you're doing that thing. And the person's like, I'm so sorry. Tell me what you were going to say. I want to hear it, and works on it. And it's something that happens once a month when it used to be a part of that person's patterning, and there's a healthy communication around it. So red flag can still be a solvable problem, but red flag means it's calling your attention. And if you don't do something about it, it can create very unhealthy patterns in a relationship. And if we see that we're communicating about something and it doesn't change, then your red flag becomes like a white flag. Like you have to surrender and walk away and leave that dynamic. Okay. So dismissiveness can be one. And part of this, remember that thing I just said, like we ignore the red flags that are the deepest reflection of the behavior and the relationship to ourselves. Well, this is often because, and think of it this way, and I was sort of saying this in the trauma bonding series that we just did, but it's like if we have red flags and we're not hearing the alarm bells going off fully, it's largely because we've created a comfort zone around this. So if we are treating ourselves in a way that's dismissive of our own feelings, our own needs, our own boundaries, because we're so focused in the dating phase of a relationship on like pleasing somebody else and winning their approval and connecting with them, then we're dismissing ourselves so completely that if somebody else does it, our alarm bells don't work properly. We're not like, whoa, this doesn't feel good. We have to address this immediately. We have to set boundaries immediately and be assertive and stand up for ourselves and advocate for our needs. we don't hear the alarm bells going off because we already have our own stuff happening. Okay. It's noisy. And so, what's so important is that you work on that fear of disapproval and rejection so that you can be focused on yourself and not people pleasing and trying to win the affection of another person, so that you can actually hear yourself, hear your feelings and needs in the dating, and not, drown that noise of yourself, even though it's a really good noise, out because you're so busy focusing your attention elsewhere. Okay. The next one, lack of loyalty in relationships. Really important. Okay. Sometimes anxious, preoccupied people will see things, and it doesn't necessarily have to be like infidelity. It can just be questionable dynamics, somebody not like really focusing their time and energy on dating you. It's like they are dispersing it everywhere and they're dating so many people, and they're going to see, well, I don't think it's necessarily this like bad thing to like, everybody has very unique beliefs about relationships, and I respect everybody so much. But if we're investing our heart and soul into something and we're getting somebody who won't even meet us halfway, then it becomes a lack of loyalty. Like, it becomes something, it doesn't even have to be about like cheating, because maybe you're not even in a monogamous relationship, or maybe you're just in the dating phase and you're not committed to anything serious at this point. But we want to feel like, what we're putting in, we're also getting out, and there's a fair and balanced dynamic. So this is really important. And again, this can often be a reflection of the lack of loyalty the anxious, preoccupied person has to the relationship, to themselves. And so these things that trigger us are often golden nuggets for us to be like, whoa, like what's going on that I'm not realizing the magnitude of how this is not okay with me? What does this reflect about me? And how can I do the work to change that so that I'm no longer making these things okay when they're not, and I deserve more. Okay. The next thing, ignoring your boundaries. Okay. Very clear, self-explanatory. We have different types of boundaries: time, mental, emotional, physical, sexual, material boundaries. All of those, ignoring your needs. Okay. Same sort of thing, like what you actually desire in a relationship, what's okay with you, not having like your conscious, intentional, clarity, so that when you go into dating, you can advocate for yourself, you can talk about what you want, and you can build a foundation on the right foot. Okay. Instead of feeling like, oh my gosh, I never told this person that this thing was important to me. Now we're 3 months in or 6 months in, and I feel like I can't say anything now. It's too late. Like, we should never feel like that in a relationship. So please, if you ever feel like that, hold yourself to a different standard and work on that. Very important work to be doing. The next one, ignoring how you might feel in a situation. So maybe you don't feel okay with something. Maybe you feel sad. Maybe something is affecting you, but you repress your feelings, or you don't communicate about what you're actually emotionally experiencing. And so as I'm saying all these things, right, I'm saying like, this is what these people are doing outside of you that you need to recognize are the red flags. Like, if somebody's ignoring your boundaries, ignoring your needs, ignoring your feelings in a situation, that's very painful. And those are all red flags. Those are all things that need to be addressed. Those are conversations that need to be had. Like, hey, I'm feeling something right now, and I need you to understand and acknowledge it. I just expressed an emotion. I need you to pay attention. But if somebody's dismissing and ignoring your feelings, your needs, your boundaries, what you're saying, like just dismissiveness in general, all these things, these are very profound things that need to be addressed, because these are not like we can't date people's potential, right? So what we see is what we're going to continue to get, unless we're having the conversations, we're advocating for ourselves, and then we actually can watch and see, is this person making an effort to change? Is this becoming a solvable problem? Or is the person just floating around doing what they do and unwilling to participate in a relationship? And if we see that they're not, that's a pretty good sign that the person's not ready for a relationship at this time. Okay. So the very last thing in here is when somebody is unwilling to have conversations about commitment, or when they are actively showing that they fear it, or actively showing past patterns of behavior in relationships that are clearly unhealthy. And sometimes, because anxious, preoccupied individuals will feel so focused on like wanting connection, not wanting to break apart, like fearing a disconnect in a relationship, they can enter into dynamics where they are ignoring the fact that this person has a history of unhealthy relationship patterns. And that's fine if somebody is clearly doing healing work and has clearly been doing healing work, because people change if they really put effort in. But if we're seeing that somebody's just saying like, this is who I was, and I haven't done anything about it, and it wasn't that long ago, these are really important red flags to be aware of in terms of somebody's ability to be in a healthy relationship, to be willing to invest their time, energy, and commitment into a dynamic. And of course, this is if that's what you want. And so I'm operating under the assumption that you're watching this because you kind of do want that. But that's where you have to get clear about your boundaries. The more intentionality, clarity we bring into relationships, the better. And then the more thriving our relationships and interactions with everybody can be long-term. So thank you so much for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. Stay tuned for the next part of the series where we will talk about the other attachment style interactions and red flags. And I will see you in the next video.